All right, we are now live.
All right, well, welcome everyone. So welcome to College Council. Today is April 26, 2022. And I am Marcelo Perez, the Vice President of Student Services here at City, and welcome all of you to College Council. I'm filling in today for Ricky, who is on a well-deserved vacation. And so, as you all know, the College Council is the highest level of governance that we have here at the college. And so if anyone has any agenda items that they would like to be placed on the agenda, we just ask that you email Janelle ahead of time of our scheduled College Council meetings so that we can place it on there, or you can also chat with one of the many reps that you see here on the screen from our different constituency groups, and they can also work to get you on the agenda. So we'll first start off with our roll call. And so we've got our past president of the Academic Senate, Paul Alexander.
I think he's at a conference today.
All right. We've got, let's see, Vice President of Instruction, Tilly Chavez.
Present.
We've got the chair of the Institutional Technology Council, Dean Robbie Ewell.
Present.
We've got our information officer, Cesar Gumapas.
That's you.
Present.
I see him there. We've got our supervisory representative, Jocelyn Hill.
Present.
We've got president of chairs and of chairs cabinet, Nadia.
Present.
We've got our dean of institutional effectiveness and chair of MPROC, Susan Murray.
Present.
We've got our administrative representative, Masa.
Present.
We've got our president of our Associated Student Government, Victoria. I think I saw her on just a second ago.
Present.
Oh, there she is. Welcome. Always important to have our student voice here. We've got our Vice President of Administrative Services, John Parker.
Present.
We've got our President of Classified Senate, Sean Ryan.
Everyone present.
And then we've got our President now of the Academic Senate, Maria Jose Celedon Perez. All right, so I see Maria there. Thank you.
Oh, I'm here. Yes, I was muted.
Beautiful, thank you. So thank you all again for joining us for College Council today. I'm going to ask that John help me as we move along in the agenda, since John has way more experience at running these College Council meetings than I am, but I will do my best, and then John will chime in and keep me on track to make sure that I'm doing this right. So the first thing that we want to do is have our approval of the notes from April 12th, 2022. I believe Janelle sent those out to everyone before the meeting. So hopefully folks have had an opportunity to go and review those. As a reminder that when you're making a motion, to identify your name so that we have it on the record. So is there a motion? Masa.
I have a small correction.
Okay.
For the baccalaureate program, it should be BS program as opposed to BA. And with the edit, I would like to move to approve the minute.
All right. So we have a motion by Masa to approve the minutes with the corrections as noted from a BS or a BA to a BS. Do I have a second?
Maria Jose Celedon Perez, I second.
All right, we have a first and a second. Like most things, we ask you to use your reactions button. So everybody who's in favor, please make sure that you check the green box so that we can have it. Check the X if you don't approve, or don't do anything if you want to abstain. It looks like the motion carries. All right. The next item on our agenda is update on murals, and it's an action item. So I'm going to turn it over to the birthday woman, Jeannie Tyler. Happy birthday, Jeannie.
Why am I here? I forget. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just old now. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you. We're back. We're back because we are here to make our campus the most beautiful campus that it can be. So I've come back. We attended a couple months ago on behalf of some other projects, and this one was highlighted and mentioned, but we did not have the artist rendering at the time. So now we're coming back because we do. And this has really been a very collaborative, student-focused process. So the Sankofa Committee, which is the committee that, among other things, hosts our annual Social Justice and Education Conference, which did happen in March. Congratulations, Sankofa Committee. They've been working with an artist collective out of Los Angeles to bring this project to our campus. They submitted an application. And as we all now know, and if you don't, I will continue to share with you, our campus process is that when a department, committee, organization, even someone from the public submits an application for public art, in this case, a mural on campus, we convene the public art committee, which is made up of all the constituency groups. So we have gone through that process, but before I get to the action item, I would like to ask members of the Sankofa Committee to please describe this project to you, what it means for the students, what it means for the campus, and if you would just give them a few minutes of your time to hear about this wonderful project. And with that, I will turn it over to Anna Delgado and Dr. Ebony Tyree.
Thank you so much. Ebony, I can start out, but please jump in at any point. I just texted Ebony saying, I got our notes up. 3B is a collective that, yes, is in LA, but they also have big ties to San Diego. We found out about them because Paul Alexander was aware of Oscar, one of the collective members, graduate thesis show. And so that's how we got connected. So they are connected to San Diego, which is wonderful. One of the members, there's 5 members, and one is actually at UCSD right now getting his MFA. So they're wonderful in their mission. They actually want to support BIPOC artists. They talk about working with community. They've been working with our students to design a mural. I mean, they had 7 or 8 back and forth conversations. I mean, I've never worked with artists that have been so interested in student voices and collaborative with students. Yeah, they're just incredible. So that's a little bit about them. And they work really well together and say they like to have different opinions because it keeps them in check. And yeah, they're just, I cannot speak higher of these individuals and collective. Should we pull up the design? I can pull it up.
I will.
Okay, great, thank you. That way we could talk a little bit about the rendering and the symbolism behind it.
Janelle, may I share screen?
Yes, you may. You should have access to do so.
And they also presented in the social justice conference and had a panel there, which was phenomenal as well. So they spoke about their work as a collective and their work as individuals. So here's the design. They did do a redesign because the first design didn't seem to fit with the aesthetic that a lot of people felt necessary. And so this one, they went back and did still tie in a lot of student voices, but took into consideration architecture. So the sort of thick black line is actually like where there's big grout lines in the cement facet. And just so everyone's clear, this is right across the street. Well, this is right on C Street on the ramp next to Seville. Okay, so most of you know where it is. And let's see, so to speak a little bit about the symbolism, I have one quote from the collective. So they said they've gone back to the idea of modernism and architecture as a taking off point to speak about a dominant historical narratives. They pulled from geometric traditions that are Mayan and from other central Mexican traditions, certain artists like Luis Barragan. They're working still with some more political iconography, but the central figure is an axis mundi that is representative of a tree of life. This came from the students as well. And compass along that with different elements like water and earth and air and fire. Kind of, you know, clearly more geometric and abstract. And celestial movements with the sun and moon leave a balance and a duality there. So they have some things that the Public Art Committee talked about. They wanted to know what the snake meant at the bottom, and that stands for a reference to water rights and protectors that came to the forefront during the Keystone Pipeline protests. It's a long struggle, and it's only going to get more relevant with our warming climate. So they also talk a little bit about environmental justice as well. And then Ebony, do you want to explain the Mayan quote, or would you like me to? I saw your audio. I don't know if it was connected.
I was trying to figure it out, Anna. I don't know if you can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yeah, but yeah, the Mayan quote right there on the side there, it stands for "You are my other me."
In Lakesh.
Yes.
In Lakesh, yeah. You are I am you and you are me. So some of the verbiage came from hi everybody. Some of the verbiage came from our students. Initially they had Tu lucha es mi lucha. And so anyway, the artist kind of said the in Lakesh, you know, is connected to that, but maybe a little more, I guess, unifying, knowing that we are all in this together. So that's where that comes from. I know in our English department, we also use in Lakesh in our Charter for Compassion through our Title V work in terms of equity. And so, I mean, yeah, I think it's pretty dope in my opinion, and the committee has seen it. And we like what they've come up with. So this was all, again, like Hannah said, in collaboration with the students and what they shared about what was important to them in terms of their journey as students and their experience at San Diego City College. And 3B Collective just kind of took all of that and put this together. I mean, what an awesome team. So, I mean, imagine just walking by or even driving down C. You know, like, I don't know if you are ever that one way down C Street and seeing that. To me, I feel like I'd pull over. What is that, right? So just in terms of drawing an eye into the campus, I think it's a wonderful location. Plus the collaboration with the students, include the students participating in painting part of this mural as well. So Sankofa Committee is supposed to get together and, you know, plan a little outdoor party, right? As we work on the mural together that week and give out more social justice and education conference swag, I think, which is really important in terms of pulling our students back on campus, if that's what we want to do. So, you know, multiple levels of goodness happening with the mural, and we're excited to show it to you all. So any questions or anything you want to add, Anna?
One thing I wanted to add was, yes, again, the collaboration with students. The students are going to help paint the mural, and yeah, it was truly collaborative. They were really asking the students about their time on campus, their relationship with teachers. And one thing brought up in the public art committee yesterday that I thought was really nice was people were asking about the cactus, and the student representative on the public art committee said, I really like that element because if you're lower down, you won't see that, but then you go somewhere else and you'll see it and it changes your perspective. And she was describing, her name's Jen Foxley, describing that that's sort of what happens in school as well to sort of growing up and looking at your career, looking at different perspectives and feeling those different perspectives. And that's what City does. And we have this multi-level campus, and using that in a metaphorical way is beautiful. So yeah, any questions, please let us know.
I do want to add, it's not just students. We can help too, y'all. So if you want to come through, add your contribution, right? Say you were part of this project. It's for us as well.
It truly is for the campus. And Ebony and Anna, thank you so much. I figured the committee best described by those who were conceived this, conceptualized it, worked through it. Just a couple things to point out, and then Victoria, I will go to your question, but they mentioned it, but just to highlight, so conceptually, this was supposed to be part of the social justice conference, right? We were going to be out there during the time of the conference, highlight that. 3B Collective, they presented at the conference. They had a session themselves. And then I believe there were 6, if not 7 sessions in which they worked with our City College students really to achieve this rendering. So definitely student informed. And so they mentioned all of that, but I wanted to highlight that in case it got lost in there somewhere. Victoria.
My question was, is there a link that student can like sign up to help?
As soon as this gets approved, I have a Google Doc that students will be able to sign up for time slots, and we'll have waivers that students will sign when coming on volunteer forms. But yes, yeah, that will be sent out.
Okay, thank you.
Because as always, whatever we do here at City will be in the safest way possible. So any other questions for Sankofa? Anything regarding the rendering itself? Just want to make sure that, so I think this was given to you maybe about 24 hours before. Hopefully everybody got a chance to access it and look at it before this, but really take it in. And because what we are here today is to, I'm going to go through what our process is again, and then what College Council's role is in moving this project forward. Maria, Jose?
No, first, I just wanted to say thank you to all the people that got together and make this vision come true. It's really a dream, I think, for a lot of us. This is very symbolic. I can see all the little pieces. Are those like Mayan ruin, like pyramids type? Yes, it's, boy, it's stunning in a way that it reflects so much more than just what meets the eyes right now. And that saying in Lakesh Alakin is quite meaningful. So thank you. That's a tremendous amount of work. Good job.
Thank you for that positive feedback.
Thank you.
So real quickly, if I may, because I always like to start out reminding us all of the process. You have it. The process will be coming back around to you because we are in the midst of making one minor adjustment to it. We had the first reading at Academic Senate yesterday, but again, our public art policy on campus is that there's an application process, department, group, folks, community members, staff could all get together. They can submit the proposal. It's submitted. The proposal itself addresses scope, size, location, length of time, maintenance, upkeep, all of the appropriate logistics that go into a public art piece. And then the committee is convened. We listen to those who submitted the application, we take into consideration, and then we vote at that level to recommend to College Council to move the project forward or not. The Public Art Committee actually met twice in regards to this singular project. The first time at the end of January because we didn't have the rendering at that time. So we were very much talking about this location right there on, it's about 1500 block of C Street. It's that ramp that goes up between the AH building and the Seville building. This is just the other side of the kiln yard outside of AH 317. So there was conversation about that. Ultimately, the Public Art Committee with a no vote from one member majority, we moved this forward. Then we came back when the rendering was complete and we discussed, we actually had, when the Public Art Committee met, we not only had, of course, Anna and Ebony with us again, and members of Sankofa, we actually brought in two of the artists from 3B Collective so that we could ask them about the image, about some of the iconography in it. And they were very excited. And it was, I could have listened to them all day long. I'm sorry I missed their session at the Social Justice Conference. They're so in tune with this area and with our ancestors, right? They're just really amazing. So then again, with majority vote, the Public Art Committee has once again voted to recommend fully to College Council that this project moves forward. So we're here today to share that information with you, to go over the process. And now we put it in your hands as far as process. The action item is for College Council to vote and then make their recommendation to Sankofa Committee, the actual group that submitted this application, to move that forward. Any questions before I hand it back over to VPSS Perez to move forward?
Victoria, is that an old hand or you have a new question?
Oh, that was the, sorry.
Okay, no problem. Just wanted to make sure we got your question answered if it wasn't.
Would you like me to stop sharing?
That'd be great. Thank you. All right, so thank you to Dean Tyler and the Sankofa Committee for being here and presenting on this topic. So this is an action item. So I believe we are going to put this to a vote today. I guess with that being said, do I have a motion to accept or the approval of the mural as it was presented?
This is Sean, and I'd like to make a motion to approve.
And do I have a second?
Marciano, this is Robbie. I make a motion to approve as well.
Dean Ewell seconds. So using your reaction buttons, if you can use again, the check mark to say that you are in support, the X if you are voting no, and you can leave it blank if you are abstaining. All right. Looks like it is unanimous. So we have the motion passes and we have a vote of yes on taking action on the mural. So congratulations to Sankofa and Dean Tyler and all your hard work in getting this passed. We appreciate that.
Thank you for this time. We really appreciate it.
All right, so our next item on the agenda is institution set standards, and Dean Murray is up to lead us through this discussion.
Thank you. City College has institution set standards regarding institutional level outcomes in 6 different areas. This is part of our annual data reporting to ACCJC, our accrediting body. They expect that all accredited colleges not only monitor these institutional outcomes, but set thresholds for performance. So that includes an aspirational goal. It includes a minimum acceptable threshold of performance. So each year we process data from the prior academic year. The standards for the performance standards and the aspirational goal were set some time ago. And as we go through each of these, you'll see how those are reflected. Something to keep in mind is that they were set through the current academic year, 2021-22. So sometime during the fall 2022 semester, we will need to engage the college in the process of updating these thresholds and aspirational goals. So typically, the review process for the data goes from IREC, the Institutional Research and Effectiveness Committee. That group reports to City Planning, formerly MPROC, and then it comes here to College Council. It's also included, as I said, in our annual data report to ACCJC. So the report that contains all of this information is posted on our public website through the institutional research page. It was also sent out today with the agendas, if you want to walk through it. I'm just going to show the charts for each of the standards and talk briefly about them. And it's important to do this because, you know, this is part of our institutional accountability process with ACCJC. And it just lets the college know where we stand on these metrics. And again, you know, this is at a college-wide level. We have other tools like our program review dashboard that look at parallel measures if you want to drill down to specific programs or groups of programs. So if I can have permission to share my screen, please. I will start with the first one, which is course completion. So each of these measures has a definition at the top. So successful course completion means course success. It means passing the course with a grade of C or better for graded courses, or a pass for a non-graded course. The line at the top represents our aspirational goal. The shaded line in the background represents the range of performance that we're looking at. So you can see, and we always have the most recent 5 years worth of data presented. So you can see that for the most part, though we have not yet quite reached the aspirational goal of a 72% course success rate, we have been exceeding the expected range of performance, except for the 2019-2020 year. And as we all recall, the spring 2020 semester is the one that was disrupted by the pandemic, which clearly had an impact on course success rates. We had an option for students to withdraw without a penalty because of the need to abruptly change to remote instruction. But if you look at 2021, we bounced back from that challenging circumstance very well and essentially equaled the rate that we had achieved in the year prior to the pandemic. So one of the conversations we will want to have in the fall is if we want to continue to maintain this aspirational goal and what the threshold should be for the low end of acceptable performance. Moving on, the next goal area is annual retention. So this is reflecting first-time students who enroll in a fall term and then return to City College for the following term. The data here are challenging in several respects. We have some challenges that were introduced with the adoption of the Campus Solutions as our student data system in the summer of 2019, with the first primary term being the fall of 2019. And we know from other sources that we did have a number of students who struggled with that transition, had difficulty getting registered for courses, may have opted to stop out for a while or even looked into enrolling in another college. We know that the majority of our students enroll part-time, and part-time students may not have as strong of a connection to a college in terms of how they view their home campus. We don't really have an explanation for why fall 2018 was as high as it was, but that was the only year in which we exceeded our aspirational goal. And we have identified retention as an area that we want to work on as a college, which is appropriate because ACCJ expects us to do that if we are not meeting that threshold of acceptable performance. So we have been addressing this through the Enrollment Management Committee, which has now merged with the Student Success Initiatives group to form our new Student Journey group. That group is developing and implementing a retention plan that has a wide range of different activities. And I believe that plan has already been presented here and can certainly revisit that to get more specifics about what is happening. But this is an area where we've had both actual challenges in helping students stay with us once they enter, and also some data challenges in being able to accurately track students over time. The next area is degree completion. So this is looking at the number of associate degree awards. We have almost reached our aspirational goal. We did see a little bit of a drop off during the pandemic, but we remained within the acceptable range of performance that we had defined. The next area is certificate completion. Certificates did have experience, the number of awards did experience more of a decrease during the pandemic. Most of our certificates are in CTE related programs. Many of those programs did not translate well to remote instruction because of their hands-on nature. They were what we considered hard to convert to remote instruction. And so that probably had an impact on students' completion. So this is an area where our current performance is below the threshold. And so we will be working through the school deans, department chairs, instructional cabinet to do some more in-depth analysis of this data and identify whether there were particular programs that were impacted more than others. Transfer volume is the next area. This is just based on the number of students who completed 12 or more transferable units with City and then have enrolled at a four-year institution. And you can see that this is the area where we have already exceeded our aspirational goal. And so it is definitely time to revise that goal and probably move it upward. So we have had a pretty steady increase in transfer volume. We had a slight drop in the second year of the pandemic, but not a very significant one. So this is an area of strength for the college. Our last area has to do with licensure exam results, and this focuses on our nursing program because they set these thresholds in their own program accreditation process. And I want to pause here for a moment because I believe congratulations are in order to our nursing program who just received the letter confirming their program accreditation. So congrats to Dr. Armstrong and her team for that big accomplishment. And as you can see, our nursing graduates have been doing amazingly well on their NCLEX exam to obtain licensure as a registered nurse. So those are the data points that we are reporting to ACCJC. I noted a couple of areas that we will want to review as a college in the future. Evidently somewhere in there, I unintentionally stopped sharing, so I apologize for that. And I can go back and pull up any of the charts that you want. Jocelyn, you have a question?
I do. So thank you for providing this data and information. So is it also available broken down by ethnicity and because I see that you talked about first year college students, but the completion rate, I was wondering, do we know if they are their second year, third year, returning, and then by ethnicity, are we able to pull that data?
In other dashboards that we have, particularly the program review dashboard and the special populations dashboard, those are focused on being able to disaggregate results by different student characteristics. Mm-hmm. Within the institution set standards, we are just asked to look at these things at an institution-wide level. But obviously any discussion about improvement strategies, we would want to refer to that disaggregation. It's just not part of this particular report. Oh, okay. So we do have that information available. The other part of your question in terms of tracking students from first year to second year and beyond, that has been a little bit more difficult to achieve. The transition to PeopleSoft kind of disrupted whatever tracking mechanisms we had in place, because that included some coding changes. It gave us an entirely different database to work from for all of the district research offices. And so there's a lot of manual work involved in identifying those cohorts and then tracking them from term to term. And it's something that we just have not been able to keep up with, given that we have been missing a staff position for the past year. We're in the process of filling that position, and so we will have the capacity to start looking at better ways of doing that tracking. That's an issue for reporting at the district level as well as the other credit colleges. So it's something that we're all trying to improve. Any other questions?
Just my last question or point of clarification. So this report here, could we also use it to support our accreditation? And I don't know what standard it will fall into, but could we use this information to support this the accreditation that we're currently visiting? And I don't know what standard it would fall under, but.
Yes, this is related to one of our accreditation standards. I'm going to get the number wrong if I try to say it.
That's why I didn't want to say
it. I spent 20 plus years doing accreditation work in another region, and that is the one thing that has not taken hold yet, is being able to cite those standard sections off the top of my head, because the other numbers are so ingrained. But yes, it is related to an accreditation standard. Yes, it is expected that we as a college review this data annually and have an institutional conversation regarding what we do if we note that our performance is not at a level we expect. And so this is not only included in our ICER, but it's expected that we update and review these data annually.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Dr. Murray? Oh, Tilly?
Susan, I apologize if I missed it earlier when you were talking.
But is Nisha
where do we share? Where you just said that we need to review this information? Where and how are we doing that other than today?
Our formal process starts with IREC, the Institutional Research and Effectiveness Committee, goes from there to City Planning, formerly MPROC, and then to here. So that is our formal process through our governance structure. But the report is required to be posted to the public, and it's available for anyone to access. And if other areas of the college would like a presentation or would like to explore any of these things in more depth or with more disaggregations, we could definitely support that for our office.
Any other questions? And thank you, Dr. Murray, for this, for the information, and folks be on the lookout, send any questions. And I believe this PowerPoint was also shared with folks.
Yes, and the report is on the website. And just a heads up that we will be, through the same chain of governance groups, be initiating the process in the fall to update our aspirational goals and our performance thresholds.
Thank you so much. All right, moving on. Next on our agenda, we've got Nance hiring guidelines and signature request process. Dr. Parker.
Thank you, Marciano. I'll share my screen here with a second. I won't read through it, but I will, let me see, am I enabled, Janelle? I am now. Thank you. Okay, how's that? Am I showing the short-term employee, student worker, and professional expert?
Yes, you are.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So this is just a reminder that I sent out to the campus, might have been a couple of weeks ago, as we've been hiring a lot of Nances, especially during COVID with HERF funds. And just wanted to send out a refresher, or for some of those who are newer, such as myself, the policy on hiring Nances. And just recall that a position must be approved by the Board of Trustees, one, to create positions for Nances. And once these are created, actually, let me take down my reaction here because it's bothering me. I can't see it, but I'll do so afterwards. But we must have a position that is approved by the Board of Trustees in order to assign a Nance. And Nances are part-time, short-term, hourly employees who are not members of the classified service, nor do they require academic credentials. And this is in accordance with Education Code 88003. And in a nutshell, Nances are pretty much substitutes or vacancy Nances, temporarily backfilling a contract position that was vacated in the recruitment phase, or short-term leave, such as maternity, medical leave, or extended leave, etc. Short-term Nances are performing a service such as tutors or mentors, and they may also be student workers, college work study, work experience programs, and all other student programs. And lastly, can also be employed as professional experts working on a finite project that falls outside the skills and knowledge of existing positions within classified service. Again, just to reinforce, they should not be used to replace classified or to circumvent the process of hiring a classified. These are short terms. This goes through not just the college process, but the district as well. Again, it has to be a position that has already been approved, an available position by the Board of Trustees. There have been a couple of cases where we have swapped out approved Nances for one department for another, in essence, letting them borrow a Nance, but they should not go beyond 1,000 hours for the year, because there are implications for benefits if they go beyond 175 days or 1,000 hours for a fiscal year. So we do receive a report from the district. It's the 1,000 hour report for those who are quickly approaching those 1,000 hours as we approach year end. And the same thing with the days. As they approach 175 days, we receive that notice in which we must terminate the assignment prior to reaching 1,000 hours or 175 days. So those reports are sent out to the VPs and distributed to deans and managers to monitor their hours to ensure that their assignments are terminated, as there are implications, one, again, with paid benefits and budget overruns as well. Quickly wanted to, let me take my reaction off. Review signature requests. Again, refresher for some, for those this might be new. Regarding the signature request, we have new personnel here in business services as well. The important thing is to please allow time. Of course, that we're very flexible. There are exceptions. There are emergent needs at times in which we, for the most part, do a pretty good job in facilitating. But for regular requests, please allow 10 to 12 days prior to the due date to have everything signed and approved in a timely manner. All plans reports submitted electronically need to be printed out and approved by management prior to online submission. This is another reminder regarding any contract, agreement, MOU. No one shall enter into a contract with an outside entity on behalf of the district or college without prior approval from the president. So it comes through me and through managers, deans, VPs, me, and ultimately the president. What can end up happening is that an individual and or a department can be responsible for an agreement or contract if not approved by the VPs and the president. So please be cognizant of that. That's something that I regularly communicate or have since I've been here anyhow. So this is the flow chart for signature requests. We have the requestor, which essentially is the campus community. And then it's routed to managers, supervisors, from the managers and supervisors to the vice presidents, and ultimately to me and up to Ricky for final approval. Oftentimes, Ricky will delegate that approval authority to me. Oftentimes, not oftentimes, but I have delegated signature and approval authority to vice presidents and managers in some cases. But neither managers or VPs should be signing without authorization from me, given authorization from the president. And oftentimes we'll see requests being routed to me directly, in some cases bypassing managers and deans, and in other cases it may bypass their vice presidents, in which case I just send a friendly reminder copying the managers or VPs that we require their approval before I can sign and route forward. Any questions on the signature process or hiring of Nance's paperwork? No HERF questions. Yes, Masa. I see Masa, Tilly, and Maria.
I think Maria Jose's hand was up first, please.
Thank you, Masa.
Oh, what a gentleman. Thank you, Masa. John, just a quick question. Is this process fairly new? And I'm just asking because I had experience trying to hire student workers for the work cultures, and it took about 3 months. So by the time that student worker was able to come in, really there was not much more to do for them. So I'm really, really concerned about the timeline. I'm not sure if this process now that is 10 days versus 15 days, if it goes through the district, is that, so that's for the signatures and the paperwork to go to where it needs to go. Does that mean that after those 10 days or 15 days, that person gets to be hired to start the work?
As long as they've completed their background check and paperwork, oftentimes what I find, Maria Jose, is that when we send the paperwork to the district and we typically reach out, I would encourage the hiring manager to reach out to the applicant to see where they are first. By the time it gets to us, sometimes no one has reached out to the applicant, and we find out that they have not done their background check, they have not done their fingerprinting or followed up with additional items that was requested by the district. So I would start that, but to answer your question, after all that has been completed, it's a pretty expeditious process. It should flow seamlessly.
So just to clarify for all of us on campus and the community, once we do all the paperwork, 10 to 15 days, it goes to HR, and then HR is in charge. How much longer from? I just want to make sure that we're all that we have processes that are actually helping those students or Nance rather than hurting them. I don't know if I'm not sure it's people not doing what they need to do. I'm just questioning our own process just to put it out there to hopefully make sure that we are doing good by the people we're offering jobs, especially students.
Yeah, certainly. I really don't think there's anything we can do to expedite the process that I could see on my end anyhow. But we'll continue to monitor it, and we're open to suggestions in the future if you find something, or if anyone finds something that's creating a bottleneck or delay. I think it was Masa and then Tilly.
Thank you,
Tilly
John.
wants to full rank.
A question, clarification question on the first document, Nance one. Towards the end of the document, there's asterisks, which was, which explains like 75% of the college day, which is 195 days. Could you clarify that part a bit, please?
Let me find the asterisk you're referring to.
So asterisk itself appears right next to the 175 days. And there's explanation at the bottom that talks about 195 days.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't turn out to be 75% if the ratio was supposed to be 70% of 195 days is not 175 days. So I was a bit confused there.
All right, so let me share my screen so folks can see what you're referring to, Masa.
Oh, thank you.
Sure. So you're referring to this asterisk based on this calculation here?
Correct.
So it says the number is pursuant to 75% of a college year, means 195 work days, including holidays, sick leave, vacation, and other leave of absence, irrespective of the number of hours worked. So I think that what it's saying is that 175, so 75% of all college year. You know what? I need to clarify. That sounds a little confusing.
Does that mean it's 195 working days and it's not and, right? Because this is including. So
right. No, it's not. It's 175 is the cap.
Okay, got it. That's what I thought.
And that needs to be reworded a little bit because that is a little cryptic. Thank you for pointing that out.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome. And I'm looking in the comments. Tilly, I see you here. It'd be great to get a checklist as to what happens between HR and the students so we can reach out. Okay. Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Tilly, sorry.
No, I was just going to add to that a little bit, John, if I may, and that is that sometimes I know Marciano and I were hiring a project assistant. It took a long time, and what we kept following up, and it was the applicant kept thinking that they were waiting for something from the college, and we were waiting for them. It's a continuous thing of reaching back out to them of where are you? Have you done this? Have you done this and this and that? I just wanted to share that piece of it. And that is like a nonstop. It's like you almost have to put on your calendar, check on so-and-so, like every Monday at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, or whatever. You're right, Tilly. And that's, I think that's what I was getting at is there may be a lull. And like you said, we're waiting on them and they may be waiting on us. And it's kind of a stalemate. And not that anyone's culpable. It's just,
correct.
Yeah, go ahead.
One more thing, if I could. And John, I apologize if I missed this, but as you were hitting on so many different things on that chart, I would just, if you could go over one more time about comp time versus overtime, and just for a brief minute. I know we have other things on there, but I just wondered if you could just touch on that.
Yes, certainly. So comp time is essentially off the books. As you know, all overtime must be approved by the president prior to, and no overtime at this point has been approved, just on rare occasion, and primarily facilities and grounds in the 20 months that I've been here. Other than that, no approval for overtime. However, comp time can be approved by the manager beforehand. And my understanding, and I'm trying to look it up real quick regarding comp time is that we have a year to use our comp time. And if anyone knows better that's online, please correct me while I do search for it. But what I mean off the books is that it is not paid through salaries. You're just, in essence, if you're working extra hours, your manager will approve you to take off those hours at a future date. Again, I'm sorry, Tilly, I didn't have the policy available, nor do I have it committed to memory, but I
That's
believe
actually what I was asking for, what you just went over to make sure people know. And then I put into the chat was, even if people are on restricted funds like grants, that still has to be approved as well, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Whether it's restricted
or overtime.
Yes, absolutely, for overtime, whether it's restricted or GFU, it has to be approved by the president. So it is now recorded. Comp time is recorded in the system, so it should be easier to track and approve. Was that it? Any questions on comp time or Nance's?
I think E. Mitchell has a question.
I'm sorry. Oh, I missed you, Eddie. The man of the hour.
I just wanted to comment on the delay with the hourly applicants. From our experience, it's usually the live scan that takes a long time. If the applicant turns in all his paperwork and it goes to live scan, and that's the delay, because what happens is they do a live scan and they go back so far, and if they get a hit like a DUI or something, then they try to dig a little bit further back and then to get his past record. And so some people get processed real fast, it takes like 2 days, and some people take like 3 or 4 weeks. It all depends on their background. And as far as the 195 days, the 159 days, I believe, is the ed code. And what the district does is they cut it to 175 days, so they have a little buffer there, because some people used to work like at different sites as hourly, and then when they added it all up, their days, it ended up going over 195, so they cut it to 175 to they have a little buffer there to make sure that nobody would go over that 195. So that's the reason for that. That's from what I learned in our department with dealing with hourlies.
Okay, good to know. Thank you for that, Eddie. But to reiterate, that's easy for me to say. The district does cap it at 175.
Great.
Thank you, Eddie. Any more questions? And Maria, Jose, and a couple of others in the chat regarding the checklist to provide for applicants may be a good idea, and training as well for the communication, just to keep that feedback loop and to close the communication gap. All right. Thank you, Marciano.
Thanks, John. All right, well, we're moving right along. We are at number 6, approval of our land acknowledgement resolution and statement. Dean Robbie Ewell is going to lead us through that. And first, let's just say we want to thank him and all the folks that have worked really, really hard on getting this getting this land acknowledgement created and vetted. So I'll let him take it away, and hopefully we get an approval today.
Thank you, Marciano, and good afternoon, colleagues. You're absolutely right, Marciano. We owe really a special warm thank you to a number of our special groups, Academic Senate, Classified Senate, SPA, and others. All basically took the extra time, graciously reviewed the document, and has given us their approval. So we have moved along a little bit during the continuum within the last 9 months since PD took on the charge of trying to put together a land acknowledgement with everyone's help. And I can tell you part of the journey is that we've learned a lot about the interests and regard parties have already on our campus, and also some feedback that we received that I will share with you is very constructive, if not directly about the land acknowledgement, it also maybe points out other areas that deserve our attention as well, more attention than perhaps we've given it to. Before today, we're here to take a look at the final iteration of our land acknowledgement resolution. Again, one already passed by Academic Senate. Thank you very much once again. And also the actual statement for land acknowledgement, which if approved, it will be part of the documents that we will have throughout the campus and also being used to acknowledge our regard for indigenous populations nearby. So if I may, if I could just share my screen for a second.
You should have access, Rob.
Thank you. Oh, there it is. Okay, can you see this at the moment? The land acknowledgement?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Only 5 slides here, but just to give you an overview of the our campus-wide acknowledgement initiative. Basically, San Diego City College rests on unceded land that has been the ancestral home of the Kumeyaay. San Diego City College's land acknowledgement is a formal statement and related actions that acknowledge the significance of indigenous peoples to the college and surrounding communities. San Diego City College's land acknowledgement is intended to foster greater awareness, understanding, and regard for the history, culture, and internal perspectives of the Kumeyaay Nation. To continue with the overview, the land acknowledgement represents a call to action for stakeholders within the college to express with humility our collective appreciation and gratitude for the indigenous people who were the original caretakers of the land that the campus rests upon. A central theme associated with the San Diego City College mission is its ongoing commitment and contributions to the intellectual, cultural, economic, and social advancement of our communities and individuals it serves. The creation of an institution-wide land acknowledgement is consistent with the college's effort to cultivate relevant community relationships. And so we moved on to these 2 items. First one is the land acknowledgement resolution. I hope after today we can take away draft off of this, but for now I'll leave it there. And we have 2 slides for this resolution. Whereas San Diego City College rests on unceded land that has been the ancestral home of the Kumeyaay, its caretaker for generations. And whereas much of the history of interactions between the Kumeyaay and non-indigenous settlers have been marred by violence, forced labor, forced removal from land, invisibility, and lack of cultural understanding, acknowledgement, and respect. And whereas San Diego City College is an institution of higher education dedicated to evidence-based history and prides itself on community leadership, inclusive education, and social justice. And whereas an accurate and just depiction of the history of the land on which San Diego City College resides must recognize the Kumeyaay stewardship and occupation of the land. And whereas San Diego City College believes it's appropriate to develop a land acknowledgement statement to encourage greater understanding of the Kumeyaay and to seek further guidance from the Kumeyaay on ways we might foster a collaborative relationship moving forward, and resolves that San Diego City College adopt a statement acknowledging the Kumeyaay historical residence and stewardships of the land on which San Diego City College resides, and resolves that this Kumeyaay land acknowledgement be shared widely throughout San Diego City College in forms including, but not limited to, ceremonial introductions at campus events and written statements on college's departmental or programmatic websites. This pretty much is the resolution. The statement that the resolution points to is next. San Diego City College acknowledges that we gather on unceded Kumeyaay land. We value indigenous knowledge and cultural worldview. We commit to providing transformative educational experiences for all campus members and guests as we examine practices that perpetuate harm against Indigenous, Black, Brown, and other marginalized communities. We pledge to sustain a meaningful and respectful relationship with the Kumeyaay and other Indigenous communities as we honor this beautiful land together. So what we are requesting with your indulgence is both your approval of the resolution for land acknowledgement and the actual statement that is the land acknowledgement. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Now stop sharing if you love. Hopefully I haven't put everyone to sleep. But if you have any questions also about the process in which we use to get to this date, I can tell you at least off the top that for about the last 9 months, we've had our professional development coordinators who also, we have 3 coordinators that are representatives of different stakeholder groups, actually promulgate this content and get feedback from their respective areas. And we also had some wonderful cooperation throughout the campus by just individuals responding to it. Tilly, I think I see a raised hand.
And of course, it's now the time they're going to play some music, but I'm going to try my best. If you can all help me to thank Robbie and his team for taking this effort on and really doing a wonderful job. First time ever for any of us at the gate. So I'm going to be quiet because I know it's a lot of noise, but just help me thank Robbie. Thank you.
You're making me want to dance, Tilly.
That's going to be her new intro song when she walks into places.
So are we, just to clarify, are we doing 2 votes, one for the resolution and one for the land acknowledgement, or just one vote for both?
I believe it should be just one vote because they are in tandem.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, seeing no questions, if there are no other questions, then we'll go ahead and put this to a vote. So again, if we can have a motion first to adopt or approve the resolution and land acknowledgement.
I motion to vote and approve.
All right, so we have a motion.
Maria Jose.
Dr. Perez.
Darius, I'll second.
We have a second by Darius Spearman. So if you can use your reaction buttons and use the check mark to vote yes, the X to vote no, or nothing to abstain, and we'll take the vote that way. It looks like the motion passes unanimously, so it is all approved. Great job, Robbie. Again, thank you so much for your leadership on this. We know that this has been a journey, and we've learned a lot during this process, and I appreciate you leading us through this. So thank you.
Oh, thank you all. Appreciate it.
All right, so the next thing that we have is Dr. Parker is going to do the 2022 Citizen of Courage recognition.
Yes, thank you, Marciano. And Eddie, thank you for hanging in there with us for so long. As part of the National Crime Victims' Right Week, which we are in, I'm truly honored to announce that one of our very own city family members is being recognized by the San Diego District Attorney, Summer Stephen, as a citizen of courage. Eddie Mitchell, who is our facility's senior crew leader, is being honored for his heroics and valiant efforts. In March of 2020, Eddie came to the rescue of a veterans volunteer here on campus who was being sexually assaulted after being severely beaten. And responding to the victim's screams for help, Eddie came to the young woman's rescue, risking his own life to chase the suspect away and to console the victim until police arrived. His detailed description and report eventually led to the arrest of the suspect, and detectives later acknowledged that he likely saved the victim's life and that they would not have been able to arrest and successfully prosecute the suspect were it not for his heroics. And I am happy to report that the suspect was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison, and that the victim is doing well and working hard to put this traumatic experience behind her and resume a normal life. And it is with that, I would really like to present and acknowledge Eddie. The award ceremony will take place tomorrow at 4 o'clock. I'll provide the link to register to attend here in a second, but really would like for us, the campus community, to honor Eddie for his heroics in saving this woman's life and helping put the suspect behind bars for life. Thank you, Eddie. You're a true hero.
Thank you. Yeah, so I just happened to be there at the right time, you know. I guess I was lucky and, you know, just happened to come across the incident and everything worked out, you know. She could have been another Diana Gonzalez, you know. So lucky for her, you know, I was there. And campus police came right away too, and Roxanne. Celine was there also. We called the police. So, because I was too nervous, I was on there trying to call my phone, and for some reason, you know, my phone doesn't work at that moment, you know, and Roxanne happened to be there, and then I told her to call police, and they did, and campus police came right away. They responded right away. So it was an effort from the whole campus, you know, to help this person. I didn't even know who she was. I thought, you know, what is she doing here? It's campus was closed at the time, but apparently she was a hourly worker going home. And I just happened to be going home to the same parking structure on the other side of the S building, and before we crossed paths. So, you know.
And
and they sent me my work, so I don't know if you guys can see it.
All right.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job. You know, and you did mention, and the detectives did mention that Roxanne did play an integral part in helping keep her calm and calling the police. And detectives later did acknowledge with a letter to us here that the composite that they were able to create based on your description was spot on. It was easy for them to apprehend the suspect. So it's very fortuitous that you were there. You were able to capture a good description and provide that to the police to lead to his arrest.
Right. Yeah, it was good that campus police got there real quick, because otherwise he could have just ended up disappearing in the downtown.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they would have had a hard time to get him, but they got him right away. And I was able to put him in the back of the police car, and then they drove me over there, and then they pulled him out and I identified him. So, and then it was a long process to go to trial because of the COVID thing, and they kept on pushing the trial back. But finally, we went to court and testified. You know, I was hella nervous, but I got through that part too. So, you know, put a bad guy behind bars. So that's what matters.
You did. Good job. And I know you're very humble, but this is huge. This is huge for you and your family. And this is huge for City and the young victim's family as well. So we honor you and thank you. And for those of you who are able to attend, I did provide the chat or the link in the chat.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie.
We'll be sure to send that out on campus, on the campus day, also other folks, and post it on social media so folks who want to attend can attend. And again, Eddie, thank you so much for your bravery and for coming to the aid, and once again showing folks, you know, why when we talk about our City College family, this is what it looks like. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thanks for hanging around as well. We'll see you later.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're going to move on to number 8, as we just talked about amazing people. We're going to keep in the tradition that the San Diego chapter of the American Association of Women in Community Colleges is recognizing members from City College for their outstanding leadership. And we are happy to announce that City College has 3 amazing women who are receiving this prestigious honor. So we've got Dr. Mona Alasrami Espiritu, who is as outstanding faculty member. I don't know if Mona is here with us right now. We've got Sylvia Ramirez, who was outstanding classified. I think Sylvia is there and hiding behind her camera. And then last but not least, we have the outstanding administrator, Dr. Letty Lopez, who is being honored. And there is a ceremony that's taking place that is going to happen on Friday, May 13th. From 11 to 1:30, it's going to be at San Diego Mesa College in the Mesa Commons. At that event, they're also going to honor Dr. Pam Luster, as many of you know, who's retiring, but they'll be honoring all of these amazing women at that event. And there are tickets available for folks who would like to purchase tickets to attend the luncheon. And we'll get that out on social media as well and send it out on the DL. But we want to recognize Sylvia, Letty, and Mona for representing San Diego City College. And thank you for everything that you all have done. And then last but not least, we wanted to talk about our last College Council meeting, which will be on Tuesday, May 24th. And our hope is to have that as an in-person event. So we'll get out information. As you all know, we've been transitioning more and more to on-campus events. And so we wanted to close out our last College Council of the semester here on campus and give us a chance to all come together and see each other in person and not in these little boxes, but really come together and share in that. So more information to come on that. So with that said, is there any announcements, anything roundtable that we need to, folks would like to share before we end our College Council for today? All right. Seeing none, then this concludes our College Council for April 26, 2022. Hope you all stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you at the next College Council meeting.